Psalm 23 is one of the most well-known and cherished passages in the Bible, often offering comfort and peace to those who read or hear it. This psalm is attributed to King David, and it uses the metaphor of a shepherd to describe the relationship between God and the believer. Its language is simple yet profound, and its imagery conveys a deep sense of security and trust in divine care. The psalm opens with the line, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." This declaration sets the tone for the entire passage. Calling God a shepherd conveys the idea of care, guidance, and protection. A shepherd's primary role is to look after their sheep, ensuring they have all they need. In saying, "I shall not want," the speaker expresses a complete trust that God will provide for all necessities, both material and spiritual, removing any sense of lack. This trust underlies the entire psalm and highlights a deep and personal relationship between the speaker and God. "He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters." Here, the imagery of green pastures and still waters evokes a sense of peace and abundance. Green pastures are places of nourishment and rest, an ideal environment for sheep. Still waters suggest tranquility and safety, as opposed to rushing or turbulent waters. This verse suggests that God provides places of rest and refreshment, meeting the emotional and spiritual needs of the believer in times of weariness or distress. "He restoreth my soul, he leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake." God's guidance not only addresses physical needs but also revives the soul, suggesting a renewal and strengthening of spirit. Walking in paths of righteousness indicates that God leads the believer in a moral and upright life. It also implies that the guidance provided by God leads to a life that aligns with His will and purposes. The phrase "for His name's sake" signifies that God's guidance is consistent with His character. It reflects His nature and brings glory to Him. "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff they comfort me." In this well-known verse, the psalmist acknowledges the presence of dark and difficult times, yet there is no fear. The valley of the shadow of death represents any circumstances that bring fear and danger. However, the speaker remains fearless because of God's presence. The rod and staff are tools of the shepherd. The rod is used as a weapon to protect the sheep from predators, and the staff is used to guide and ensure the sheep stay on the right path. This verse communicates that, even in the most perilous situations, God's protective presence remains, providing comfort and courage. "Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over." Here the imagery shifts from shepherd to host. In ancient Near Eastern culture, hosting someone included providing an abundance of food and care. Preparing a table in the presence of mine enemies suggests that God provides for and honors the believer publicly, even in the face of adversaries. Anointing the head with oil is an act of hospitality and blessing, signifying favor and being set apart. The overflowing cup symbolizes abundance and the generous nature of God's provision. "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." The psalm concludes with an affirmation of trust in God's continual presence and blessings. Goodness and mercy encapsulate the character of God's actions towards the believer, promising a life accompanied by divine favor. This assurance is not limited to a specific period but extends to all the days of my life. The aspiration to dwell in the house of the Lord forever speaks of a desire for eternal communion with God, indicating a deep sense of belonging and enduring relationship. Overall, Psalm 23 offers profound insights into the nature of divine care and the comfort and security it brings to the believer. It reassures individuals of God's unfailing presence through all circumstances of life, providing for needs, guiding through moral paths, offering protection, and granting eternal fellowship. This psalm has resonated with countless people throughout the ages, because it beautifully captures the essence of a loving and faithful relationship with God.